Okay, so here is another episode of Victor and Not Victim podcast and channel, and I'm excited to be hosting my very own sister, Dr. Olufolakemi Anjorin. Every other person is excited about the publicity around this. They want to know what she has to say about me as well as my sickle cell journey. So I have with me recording Mr. Peter Oshikoya, my very own professor. I call him my professor and genetic counselor. So I welcome Mr. Peter Oshikoya. He will be the one moderating this question. And that is because I probably can't ask the best questions from my own sister. So I have to have a moderator who is outside the family that can help ask her how she felt at some point and at some period. So I welcome Mr. Peter Oshikoya as much as I welcome Dr. Olufolakemi Anjorin.
If reaching out to the world with your talent, passion, and brand through podcasts is your greatest desire, then the Anchor app is for you. It's easy to navigate, and the series of interludes to make your program interesting and enticing makes all the difference for me. So, experience a good published podcast with Anchor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So we can start. We can go ahead. I'm Olufumi Anjorin. You already know I'm your host on Victor and Not Victim channel. And is a new episode, is a different one from what we've been doing in the past. And so we'll be asking Dr. Olufolakemi Anjorin, who happens to be the host sister, some questions about how she got to know I have sickle cell and her experience growing up with me. So, Mr. Peter, I'm handing over to you.
Good evening, Ma. How you doing, Ma?
Good evening.
How are you doing
Good
today,
evening.
Ma?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thinking of what I want to ask first. So, anytime I have conversation with Miss Olufumi, she's always saying, this is my sister that pushed me to start this podcast and all of that. So I wanted to find out what's propelled you to tell her to start this noble idea, and also what made you feel that she could do something like this. Have you noticed any signs of her being a good communicator, or the fact that she could use her voice to cause a change in the community? What made you spur her to actually start Victor, Not Victim? In short, the name itself used to give me goosebumps sometimes.
Okay. So I think thank you very much for the question. So I think, I whether it's correct to say I'm the one who pushed her. She wanted to do it, but I think she was afraid of the stigma, what people do. She said, she was going to start a YouTube channel, and she didn't talk about it again. I'll check, this. So I think this particular day, it was supposed to be World Sickle Cell Awareness Day, and she, what was I saying? So she then sent me a demo recording to say this maybe input for edit, and I think we looked at it. There wasn't really so much to change. She did few iterative editing, and I think that was it to start. And for me, my philosophy is always, whatever you want to do, rather than taking prolonged period planning about it, just do it. Because if you don't do it the Nike way, that says just do it, you just have this fantastic idea in your head, and you never know whether it's going to fail or work. And what if it doesn't even work? you will have tried anyway, and you will have learned one way it will not work. So thank you.
Very, very fantastic. Yeah, I came across something my coach said sometime. He posted it some time ago, and he said, when you fall, pick up something. And it rang a bell of, okay, yes, sometimes we are afraid to fall, but when we fall, we should always learn something from falling. So yes, I noticed you saw that she was afraid of starting, and you gave that push. I wanted to say thank you for giving her that push, because without that push, I wouldn't have met her, and wouldn't have had her have this international podcast session. Like, she's doing amazingly well. And sometimes I say, yeah, this my girl. Oh, broad.
Okay.
The spectrum is broad. What she was starting, what did you have in mind that she should feel based on what
The network is not.
you've already seen around the sickle cell community? Do you think she has done a good job?
Okay, the internet is buffering. I'm losing half of what you're saying. But if I heard you correctly, you are saying whether there was a focus or something about what should be focused on. Is that correct? Did I hear that correct?
Yes, if there was a focus you wanted her to feel based on your experiences around how the sickle cell community looks, or your engagement with other people with sickle cell.
Okay, thank you. Well, I don't think, initially the idea was really not to focus on a particular topic, but I mean, like the name implies, Victor and not victim. The idea was to let people know that, I'm a very, how do I put it? I have a practical approach to life. So I don't see any disadvantage in situation. So you can tell me now that there's 3 or 10 trailer attacks, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so what then happened? What did people do? Right. So the idea is, this is a condition, people are living with it. How do you channel the situation in a way that is empowering, so that people don't, I don't like this beggarly approach to life. Oh, I'm the victim. Oh, the whole world is crashing on me. Everybody's against me personally, and she knows this. So the idea is to say, yes, there are challenges. It's a real one, not to trivialize it or undermine it. But in the midst of it, you could find the strength to soar. I guess the eagle can soar with the winds, with the storms, right? So how do you channel the story, the message in such a way that this is the condition, but on the flip side, there are benefits to it, there are advantages to this condition, well, in quotes, advantages in quotes. So what positive message or what positive lessons can people learn, either from those who have been able to overcome the challenges, maybe by adapting different things from diet, from healthcare approach, or whatever methods they are using. So what's positive? Because in everything, even they say, in every nonsense, there is a sense. You just have to learn to remove the NON before, and you get the sense out of the nonsense, right? So exactly. I think that is really, that is it. So it's how you see a glass, whether it's half full or half empty. It's up to you. It's up to your mindset. It's up to your framing. Right. So I think it's just to be able to put that message. Yes, these people are living with this condition. It's real, but what can they do to alleviate the condition? What can they do to prevent it if they have not even gotten into it? How do we ensure that the next generation of people don't have to face this? I guess these are the central core theory of change before you can now see what's specific.
Yes. Thank you so much, man. That's true. The way we view life affects the way our outcome comes out. Thank you. Yes. And I see that she's done a fantastic job in that area. Yes, the beginning. Prompting her to go for genotype test. What did you see? Why go for your genotype test? Why give her that push? Go and check your genotype. What's yes? Did it come from the angle of you being a doctor, or awareness out there? People are supposed to know their genotype, and I feel okay. I know my own. I want my sister to know her own. So,
okay, thank
what
you.
was that thing?
Okay, first a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I'm a book doctor. So, yeah. So it's not because I'm a medical doctor, right? And at that time, I have not even done my PhD. But I think the original prompt, actually, not to take credit for this, I think the original prompt actually came from my dad. And I think he had requested, if I recall correctly, he had requested that he's worried about frequent illness and wanted to understand the cause, because like you must have heard from our previous series, we had thought it was many things, from rheumatism to many things that so we thought, it happens when it's raining season, it is, So he wanted to really know. And since I was staying within the University College Hospital premises, at that time, I was doing my Master's in Public Health program then in UI, but mostly in UCH. So that I just leveraged on my contact to facilitate the testing process, really. So I think that was it. So if I'm correct, and I've been also always wondering, did this prompt actually came from me, or I think it was something that had to do with me doing something my father had requested, more like that. So I felt, yes, that's true. I'm also worried about this too. We could just go ahead to do this testing, and that was it, I guess.
Okay. So when she brought the test results and you found out, she lives with sickle cell, how did you feel? How did you get her to accept that situation? Did you at any point challenge your parents or something?
Well, this is where you actually don't want to be my sister. Well, I felt bad. And not really because of the test, but because she has made multiple trips to the clinic, and she kept on, I think they kept on telling her to come back and all that. So I think maybe on this particular day or so, I think my father also did still call me to say, he's suspecting that maybe the test result is not positive, and maybe the clinic people wanted, I think they kept asking her, if I recall correctly, who is she with or something. So I guess maybe they wanted to be sure that a family member was there when they were giving her the test results. And then I've always had job, or maybe it's a lifestyle thing where I tend to close late and all that, busy traveling and all that. So I never got a chance to really follow her. So I think if I recall correctly, I was at work when she called me that they said that genotype was SS. So you see, I wasn't with her at that time. And so apparently, I guess I was in the middle of it. So I was wondering, oh yeah, sorry, I wonder how she's feeling. But otherwise, I'm not an emotional person. This is why I'm saying you don't want to be my sister. I have this very practical approach to life. I was like, oh, I wonder how she's feeling, this and that. So I think she was there. So when I came back very late into the night, I'm like, oh, so like for me, I felt bad, but really the feeling bad was not really, oh, hey, yeah, this pitiful way that people are putting me. Oh, yeah,
pity party,
I'm not that kind of person. I'm so sorry. I wish I am, but honestly, I'm just not like that. I was going to be like, oh yeah, sorry, but the thing is, what next? Yes.
You just went to what next? Like, you just removed the emotion and like, okay, let's be practical about this thing. You cannot be emotional about all these things. No. Sorry, you're a doctor now. It means that if we come to your place, there's no pity party. There's no care. No. That one is not part of your own plan.
No, it's not. That's why you are my. You don't want me to be your sister in that regard. Like,
please. I think we need more of you as parents or sisters or people living with sickle cell, because if we can duplicate you in a million places, I think life would be better for us warriors.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. So, that's nice. So prior to that, I'm sure you would have seen her in pain. Yes, you say you're a practical person. Yes. So those days that you saw her in pain, how did you feel? Would you want to share what's the worst experience you had being with her in a time of pain? How did you feel? Yes, you are not an emotional person, but you must have felt one way like that. There's sometimes, yes, we are not emotional people, but that's one thing you will see that will touch your heart. And so, how did you feel? What was the next thing you did when you had that experience? How did you help her come out of it?
Okay, so yeah, to answer your question directly, I think, if I could remember correctly, there have been maybe one or two cases that I recall correctly. That one, I think she had traveled to visit a friend somewhere in Kaduna, I can't remember. So she was, I think, administered the wrong anti-malaria or something. So I think she started complaining, she would call in the middle of the night, she's having pain in the heart, she can't breathe, pain. I can't come to Kaduna. I don't even know where you are to start with, right? So if you can get yourself or the people you are with to get into Abuja, then that's when my own action can start. I told you I'm action oriented. So I'm not like an emotional sensing person, right? So if you tell me you have malaria, right, my next approach is, so what next? I will assess the situation. If you need to contact a doctor, I can get you a doctor. Even if I don't have money, I can mobilize the money to pay the bills, ensure you have food to eat while you are taking the drug or medication. But not necessarily say, oh yeah, let's cry together. It's crying time. What do they call it? Miserable mourners. Oh, my grandma died. Crying doesn't solve anything. Like, why are you crying? Somebody is there in pain. You are following the person to cry. Is that the solution? The solution is
it will help you to show that you really feel how the person is feeling. There's a way that you are crying. You show that you are feeling happy.
This is serious thing. I mean, I remember there was a particular case that I had to call a doctor colleague to come and set the line for her at home. And I remember telling her to say, I even wanted to take the selfie and send to my dad. And she said, so it's my pain you want to use it to do selfie and all that. So you see, because the goal is like, you are crying together, I will even make you more depressed or make you feel your condition is worse. So that's, for me, that's the time I can start dancing, making funny jokes. I don't know whether it's annoying, but is it that I don't feel
it is annoying. I'll give you making jokes. You know how people used to bite people? That's how I'll bite you, because what do you mean? So
no, I don't see why somebody is in pain. Yeah, you can say sorry, but I'm not saying yeah, sorry, like the question, most time I would not be telling you sorry. Most time my comments would be, have you taken the afternoon medication? Are they giving you this injection? Because for me, that's why I say I apologize for it. It's just my personality type. So because action-oriented approach to life, I believe that it's empowering for the person. Because if what you do when people are sick is just crying, the day you are not there, they want to cry and call the next person. But they know that this person, even if she's there, she's probably going to get a doctor. So even when they are left alone and they have the situation, it's like a model that they can also adopt to say, I just hurt my leg. Where's the next pharmacy to get a band-aid? Not, oh God, my mommy, my daddy. Because if you are crying, you're saying your mommy, your daddy. My first question is, your mommy a doctor or your daddy a doctor? Because then that helps in that situation, right? So, yeah.
They don't know that if you are pitying them, you are pushing them to that dependency level where they can't even be anything for themselves.
Exactly. And also you make the person feel like, oh, their life is miserable, they are a burden to people. I'm like, in fact, there was one, if I remember, it was even shortly, I think then I was still in UC, then I had an exam to write, then she would be saying my chest, and I said, this girl is going to make me to fail. I think I'll change this to the corridor because I need to pass this exam.
So you want to chase your sister out.
That's why I told you, you really don't want me to be your sister, to be honest. In certain regards, you don't want me.
Sometimes I want to wake up and I'll be like, she will go and see you go guys.
Yeah, so yeah, that's you can get that sense, but yeah, maybe she's not a bad person. At the back of your mind, I will do things that you feel like maybe she's not a bad person. Wow, that can somebody be so mean. But I believe that it's, like I told you, I like an empowering model for people. That word empowerment is key, because at the end of the day, like even when she says this thing or this condition is progressing, I tell her, I said, see, Corona came and showed us many things. Many people that don't have sickle cell, they have died. So don't say because I've had friends who didn't have sickle cell along the line, their journey, several health challenges happen, so you cannot say, oh, because, it's a sickle cell condition, that's why I cannot go to school, that's why I cannot eat. Fine, we thank God that, because, the experience is different for different people. So for some, it's really mild. For some, maybe there's a lot of disabilities, maybe they cannot walk, they have impairments in there. Of course, they need to be supported. In fact, everybody needs to be supported. Not like you see people in crisis that, no, I don't care. No, but what I want to say is you have to still get the attention of the medical personnel. You need to provide the assistance to them. But it's not take those actions that are needed to help them heal. If they need to watch movie to be happy, safe and smile, put a Netflix next to their bed. Let them watch and be happy. Not
mommy, why in bed? Netflix. You go not read it. Believe me, my head is burning.
I'm telling you,
my head is burning, and the TV is the TV that is looking at you. I'm not looking at the TV because
I understand you, but I guess you understand the message that I'm saying. Like, fine, it's not like it's not traumatic, but again, doing these things also helps the person handling it. Because if I use all the energy, if I use all the energy and to care for somebody to cry, where is the energy left to take the decision? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that ability to stay calm in the face of a storm and then say, what is the next line of action? Even though I'm, maybe somebody, there was a particular instance, I was just parking at my office, I've not even removed my bag, then my friend at home say, come on, your sister is gasping, this. I'm like, what kind of pain? So there are instances like that it really gets to you. But again, you just don't want to now say, I'm going to sit on the floor and cry. That is not going to solve anything. So while you are traumatized, while you have mentally challenging, it can be exhausting, but you still have to, what can I undo? What can I undo is get out to the hospital, get her admitted if she needs, pay the bills if she needs, get this thing. The other one I cannot undo is whether she gets healed, how many days she gets it, is in the hands of God. So I just pray about those, and I think that's really important.
And I believe your approach is one of the key things that we need in the sickle cell community. Based on that, I would want you to give advice to the following set of people: parents, people who just found out that their child lives with sickle cell. What advice you have to them? Siblings, yes, people who have elder people, sisters, brothers who live with sickle cell. What's your advice to them? Now, caregivers, yes, it includes parents, but caregivers now are those people you meet that become friends that help you. What advice do you have to them? With these things we have now where people are afraid to even relate with people living with sickle cell, what advice do you have for them?
I will lump all of them together. I will lump all of them together. I will lump all of them together,
it's okay.
And I will leave them.
Okay.
I will leave them with a prayer of serenity. The prayer of serenity that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So first, they need to accept the situation. Don't see every crisis as a challenge, because even people who don't have sickle cell, they get sick. So not, hey, this child has started. The one that doesn't have sickle cell condition, has malaria, has pneumonia, don't take it as a sickle cell, is this, and God, accept the situation. It is real. It is clear. Nobody is denying it. Don't live in denial. Don't adopt, yes, I'm a paid person, but don't adopt the model of people that will get to the hospital. They want to give them, I'm not sick. I'm not. Why are you here? You are not sick. You are ill. Exhausted. Don't deny. Even faith should not deny. Faith accepts it but confesses positive. So you have to accept that. Second, you need the courage to act in the face of the crisis. To be able to support you of the journey of your either sibling or child or whatever your relationship with anybody that has sickle cell disease. You need the courage to act, not act like emotional wreck in the face of situation. The ability to be able to face the storm. Are there times that are scary? Yes, there was a particular instance in my sister that we were trying. I think my neighbors helped put her in the car, and before we got to the hospital, whether our teeth were already almost coming together. There are times you would really get scared. My thoughts in that case was, how am I going to tell my parents? God forbid, if anything happens to my sister, I'll say, how will I start describing the situation? So there are instances like that, whether you are scared, it's fail. But in that case, you cannot do anything. So that's the time to look up to God and say, you are the great healer. I commit this to your hands. We'll pay the bills, we get the doctor, but ultimately you are the healer. And that will be for me, my word for it. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Yes,
Wow.
man. So for we the warriors, we are warriors. Yes, we have different categories of warriors. We have us that our self-esteem is above defense. Then we have people whose self-esteem is still under the sand. What advice do you have to all of us like that and people in the middle who are on the fence, who are beside the fence, they're trying to get to that fence to know, okay, where is my life going to go? What's your advice for them? And your last word for people who are warriors and are going through challenges?
To keep fighting. Keep fighting at your level. You can be like David, who can do it with a sling and stone. You can be like one who can do with a sword. Whatever you are accustomed with to do your fight, keep fighting. Because what warriors do is to fight. Don't stop the fight.
Wow.
I will not stop the fight. You see,
Wow.
I'm not going to stop the fight. It means my fight I just started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can also change your device. So don't stay at the level of stone and steel. When David killed Goliath, he had enough sense to use the sword of this man who is now dead to cut off the head, because that was his promise, to deliver the head off. So you have done the killing with this. So move to the next level of fight. Keep fighting, advance in your fight. Help someone do their fight. And everyone and the world, in fact, will be better for it.
Wow. And that wraps it up for this episode.
My next fight will go with iPhone 13. That was how I was supposed to do my next fight now.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. Thank you so much, Dr. Folake and Jeremy. That's a wrap for this episode of Victor and Not Victim. I've learned a number of things. I mean, Dr. Folake and Jeremy has really pushed me to be a better version of me, because you can't just be a weakling around her. You have to be your very best. And this is my own advice to every sickle cell being on idea and them to become a better version of them. And so, Tara, take care of yourself and have a wonderful time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a blessed evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.